My name is Amy Heidish. I was born and raised in Huntsville, Alabama. Huntsville is a progressive city in the northern part. It's a lot different than the rest of the state you might think of. But there are some Old South traditions that Huntsville still adheres to, and one of them is the debutante ball. The debutante ball appears to have its origins started in Europe, somewhere around the 19th century, as upper-class European families would present their marriageable daughters at formal events, ostensibly to announce that these ladies were ripe for the picking. And the tradition then moved across the ocean, landed in America, and continued to morph and change depending on what part of the nation you're in. In Huntsville, the debutante ball is a fundraiser for the Huntsville Symphony Orchestra. Another tradition in Huntsville is that if your oldest daughter is tapped to be a debutante, then the rest of your daughters will most likely be asked as well. So when my sister, who is 2.5 years older than me, was asked to be a debutante, I knew my fate was sealed. Because I did not want to be a debutante. I look like death when I wear white, like right now. I look like albino death with a side of death. I am not that thing that is a debutante with the foofy hair and the white dress and the smile and the witty conversation and the laughter that sounds like rainbow drops. That's not me. My favorite color is black. My favorite movie is Blade Runner, the first one. Other favorite movies include the serial killer classic Seven, or Heathers, or Dawn of the Dead. I am not that thing. I am not that thing that is a debutante. So when the invitation arrived, when I was 19 years old, I was all ready to say no thank you with a charming smile. Except I wasn't allowed to say no. My father told me I couldn't. Your mother really wants you to do this, he said, in a tone that basically indicated, you're doing this, or else life will be especially unpleasant for you and me. So, my father was a lot of things. A Pittsburgh native, an avid golfer. He got a master's in physics. There is a patent for airplane windshield technology attached to his name to this very day. But he did whatever my mother wanted. So my fate was sealed. Let's look at the dress. Why not? I haven't worn it in a long time. It is a wedding dress with the train chopped off. It took me 2 hours to find this dress. Other debutantes took a month. I didn't have that kind of patience. We went shopping for 2 hours. I tried on 3 dresses. Three dresses. This was the first one. I said enough. Had I spent a little more time, I would have noticed that there is a bow on my butt. And there appear to be bows kind of all up in my armpits. And there are beads dripping down from my boobs. But okay, I have this dress, and I'm gonna be a debutante, whether I wanna be or not. The day before the night I wore this dress, there was a rehearsal that my father and I had to attend. A coordinator snapped at us about where we had to stand and where we had to walk, and that curtsy better be perfect. That curtsy, you see, that curtsy was an important part of the debutante ball. And every debutante has to curtsy, and it again depends on what region of the US you are in. If you are a debutante in Seattle or Newark, your curtsy is part of an elaborate choreographed group dance between debutantes and their dads. If you are a debutante in Texas, they are hardcore. They have to curtsy with both arms out. They kick one leg back, they go all the way to the floor, their forehead touches the floor, and they come back up with a smile. It's called the Texas Dip. You can look it up on YouTube. In Huntsville, we curtsy down to our knees, sweeping out a bouquet of 1 dozen roses in this hand, and our father holds our other hand like so. It's very important to get the details right. Number 1, do not look down as you curtsy. Do not look down as you sink to the floor in a mushroom poof of white satin. Do not lean forward lest your gifts come spilling out. Your torso must be up and down, and your abs and your quads are gonna get quite the workout. But I've got an anchor. My father is holding my other hand, and he is there in case I get stuck. But he's not allowed to haul me up. It has to look effortless. It has to look graceful. It has to look like all the things that I am not. So we practice the curtsy, and the coordinator yells at my dad because he's holding my hand too tight. So we practice again, we pass inspection, we grumble to each other about how all we really want is a pizza. We go home. Dad goes upstairs in front of the TV with a glass of wine, and I go and hang out with some friends that my mother doesn't approve of, and we chug wine coolers down at the closed community pool because I am such the 19-year-old rebel. And the next night is the night that I wore this dress. At home, Dad raises a ruckus upstairs because he can't get his tie done right, and he is convinced that he looks fat in this tux. I am downstairs, and I'm already dressed, and I'm already ready to go, but I'm not allowed to point out that between the two of us, my dad is the one that is acting like a narcissistic 15-year-old. We get to the ball, and as we line up, I ask my dad if my sister, who had gone through this whole circus 2 years prior, was handling things better than me. Yes, he says instantly. My sister didn't mind the circus. My sister didn't mind the dress and the foofy hair, but I do. The doors open and we walk into the ballroom where 800 plus people are looking at us, and the master of ceremonies announces, Amy Jean Heidish, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. William Edward Heidish, escorted by her father. The spotlight shines on an albino debutante who hates her dress, and her father who thinks that this tux makes him look fat. Neither one of us want to be there, but we smile for the cameras like we want to be there. But we don't. We really, really don't. And I do my curtsy. It looks like this. Larry Dean Harris is going to be playing the part of my father. This script is going to be playing the part of 1 dozen roses. As we walk around the ballroom in our promenade, there's all of these people that keep popping out of the shadows and leaning out from their tables, and they're whispering to us, Amy, you look so beautiful. Amy, you look so beautiful. And I keep looking at my dad, and I'm like, who's that? Who's that? And my dad just says, friends of your mother's. Friends of your mother's. Friends of your mother's. After all 19 debutantes are presented, it's time to dance. And I love dancing if it's to Depeche Mode in a dive bar in the Florida Panhandle. We're not there. I'm in this dress. And the first song that the band strikes up is Thank Heavens for Little Girls. Oh, God. My dad doesn't like dancing anywhere. But we both know we have to get through this, so we smile, and I follow his lead, and he kind of waltzes me around in this Frankenstein two-step dance. It looks like this. Kind of like a pendulum, but different. And that's what we do for the rest of the night. My mother was so happy the night I wore this dress. All of her friends kept telling her and my father how beautiful I looked. And she was so proud of me, I could see it in her face. And I could see that my dad was proud of me too. I could see it in his face as we Frankenstein two-stepped all around the ballroom. the night I wore this dress. My father was still alive. He was alive, and he was in a tie that was fine, and a tux that didn't make him look fat. And he smiled at me as we danced around the dance floor. And he was alive, and he wasn't gone from colon cancer. Please, if you are able, pick up the phone, talk to your parents, spend time with them, no matter what has happened in the past. No matter if you don't understand them. No matter if they don't understand you. Because love, we do the stupidest things for love in the romantic sense, but there is a deeper kind of love. It's the kind of love that connects mothers with daughters, and it connects a father who hated his tux with a daughter who hated her dress. And neither one of them wanted to be there, but they both showed up for each other. One of them had to do a curtsy. The other one was her anchor. The night I wore this dress was horrible and embarrassing, and it had the faintest bit of magic running through it. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. And if I could go back and do it all again, I would. Thank you.